Welcome and good morning, class. How are you today? Sorry for the delay. On my end, technical difficulties. Nothing I can do about that one. That's a tough one. 4 years doing content creation, and let me tell you, every time I have a technical difficulty, I break down. I'm like, oh my goodness, what do I do? So happy to be here. It's 10:36. We're going to dive right into the lesson today. I'm going to give you the whole layout, the background, information, context, 4 major numbers, show you where we're currently at, where we want to go, and then from there, we'll step into strategy, velocity banking, and infinite banking coming together. Okay, we're starting off doing velocity banking, then working our way to infinite banking, and then it becomes a merge once IBC policy or policies are in place. For those of you who are here for the very first time, it's your first live stream. Go ahead and let us know in the comments. This is my first live stream. If you are a client, longtime follower, subscriber, inform them of the protocols, how we operate here. If you got a question, drop it in the comments section in advance. Once I am done with the lesson, I'll scroll back up to the top and we'll dive into your questions that might relate to the scenario, or maybe you've got something going on or something in particular about velocity banking or infinite banking. I will address those questions once I'm through the lesson. So with that being said, I'm going to look at some of these comments real quick and then dive right into it. So we got building manager in the house. Good morning. Jess Rowe. Good morning. Good morning. I did get your email. Good morning, Pearl, Scott, Jerry. Good morning. Casey, first timer, welcome. Demetria, Douglas, first time. Mr. P, first time. All right. So you guys got questions? Put them in the chat now, whether it has to do with the scenario or not. This live stream will go for, I typically will do about an hour and a half, sometimes 2.5 hours, right? Elevated spaces. Oh, this is my boy. This is my guy right here. Okay. So that's Paul in the house. If you guys don't know who Paul is, okay? I don't know how to say his last name. I'll go with Ibarra, I believe. Paul is an awesome dude, kingdom-minded individual. He has a community called Kingdom Linked Network. And if you don't mind, Paul, if you could drop your website link where people can enroll, just go ahead and drop that in the chat so that my community knows where to go. There's a lot of kingdom-minded people right here on the live stream that are that are building businesses, that are looking to get around like-minded, kingdom-minded people. So I believe your community is totally in alignment with mine and what I'm doing. So go ahead and please drop your link, and I'll even put it up on the screen a little bit later when I go into the Q&A section and kind of show people a little bit more how they can take action there. So do me that solid and we'll have some fun. With that being said, we got 34 people in the house, 35 and rising. And hopefully my voice will not give out on me. I don't know what's going on. Always wants to do that, you know, every now and then. Here we go. 4 minutes in. I think I'm doing good. Here we go. 4 major numbers on the board. We have a client, fairly new client, husband and wife. I'm currently working with wife. Wife is a mother of two kids. We're in the state of New Jersey. Income, just looking at wife, for the time being, we're not including all of husband's income. She only included what husband pretty much gives to her, I believe, right? So we're not including all of husband's income just yet, only because he is not fully on board. He fully supports what wife does, but we're not fully on board yet in terms of all of his income, in terms of us combining all of our resources to accelerate and eliminate debt, do the infinite banking concept, do velocity banking, okay? So we're not fully there yet. Her goal is to produce results with really her numbers, then present it to husband, be like, look, I paid off this, I paid off that, I paid off this, paid off that. Come join me on this mission. I think together we could do a lot of damage on our debt. So income for right now is $13,600. That number could be much higher, right? So I want to inform you of that early on. $13,600 we're currently working with. Expenses are $12,888 overestimated on expenses. Total debt altogether $1,107,295. I did not display all of the debts because I just don't have enough space on my board. Plus, some of the debts, a good portion of the debts are mortgages. So we're not too focused on knocking those out yet. We have some other major things that we want to do first before we even consider knocking down those mortgages. The other thing is we may not even pay off those mortgages at all, because this is a particular situation where they were able to lock in really low rates on their mortgages. And this is a type of client that wants to do a bit of both. They want to pay off certain debts. They want to leverage debt that creates cash flow for them, right? So it offsets their cost of borrowing. And then they want to invest using debt and cash flow to create more cash flow passively, right? So that is our intent here, just so you know that, more context. This leaves us with a cash flow of $712. Now, what they've decided to do to boost up their cash flow temporarily for 1 year, just 1 year, is they're pulling $1,000 from their savings to their cash flow to help accelerate velocity banking. So that's why I put plus 1,000. So technically, they've got 14,600 that'll be going into the debt tool, right, into their line of credit, but they're not making 14.6. So that's why I just put that right here. 712 is the net cash flow after all expenses are paid. And then they're, at the end of the month, they're pulling $1,000 and throwing it in the line. And that's going to increase velocity there. Cash on hand. This is savings. They have over $100,000 in savings. They have another account with a couple $1,000. I did not even include that, just including what wife has, over $100,000 in savings. We have multiple debt tools, guys. Oftentimes, I will have clients that have multiple lines of credits. In this particular case, we have 3 home equity line of credits in the second position, all 3 of them. And they also have a unsecured personal revolving line of credit. I didn't even include the HELOC because of the higher interest rate, and there's no balance owed on it. It's 0. So that is just off to the side. When we're doing velocity banking, especially those in the house, go ahead and comment if you've been doing velocity banking for a year, 2 years, 3 years, since I began 4 years ago with starting the YouTube channel. Go ahead and let me know if you started off with a credit card and then you upgraded to a HELOC. And then from a HELOC, you went to a second lien HELOC. And then from a second lien HELOC, you went to a first lien HELOC, right? And so maybe you still have your HELOC and you still have 2 or 3 different credit cards and you just kept them, off to the side. We don't close them, not ideal. They're just off to the side. That's additional capital in the event we ever need it. So that's how we, operate when it comes to that. So let's go through their 3 debt tools and we're going to decide. I'm going to show you how I decided which debt tool to use, and I want you to comment what you think is the debt tool that we should use after I go through the numbers here. So the first debt tool is a home equity line of credit, second position. We have a credit limit of $55,391, and we currently owe $55,246, so nearly maxed out. And this is at a fixed interest rate of 7.75%, and the name of this bank is Figure, Figuer, Figure Bank. They offer home equity line of credit. The second one is a home equity line of credit, second position, $52,910 credit limit, variable rate 6.75%, credit limit $52,746 with a payment of $477. Okay. Third one, home equity line of credit, second position, $97,468, variable rate 7.75%, with a balance owed of $93,938. Okay, so also near maxed out, right? This payment, $604, is an interest-only payment. Okay, so I'm going to put I owe interest-only payment for this. The $477 is principal and interest. Okay, and on here as well, the first home equity line of credit is also principal and interest. And let me just look at my notes real quick because I didn't put what the monthly payment is on that. Bear with me. The payment is $396 on that one. Okay. So $396 also principal and interest. So for both of these, principal and interest. Those are the details. I'm going to give you the answer that I and my client, we both came to an agreement on. We decided to use this one as our main debt tool. Sometimes, some of you guys that try to do velocity banking on your own, and then you hit me up after the fact, is you are doing velocity banking with your home equity line of credit and a HELOC, and you're doing something with a credit card or two, rather than directing all of your income, all of your cash flow, all of your expenses through one line, right? This increases efficiency tremendously when you bring all the money together into one central location and then deploy it. If you're having 2-3 different locations that you can send your money to, so this is your, let's go right here, checking account, boom, right? And then you've got a HELOC, a PLOC, and a credit card. If you're doing this, boom, with your income, right? You're doing this, so it goes into all 3 different accounts. That is a mistake. You decrease efficiency, you decrease effectiveness towards the principles of those balances. So let's say you owe, like this case study, they owe money on 3 different debt tools. They were doing this before meeting me. They were doing this. Money comes in, income comes in, expenses go out, cash flow, boom. So they're making the monthly payments. The payments are included in the expenses, and then cash flow, boom. Rather, we decide, okay, this one is my main debt tool I'm going to use. Income comes in, boom. Everything, all of it, into this line first. Then portion comes back out. Only what we need to pay bills, and then pay the other 2. Pay the other 2. Pay the other 2. All income in, expenses out, back to the checking pays your bills, boom. That increases, just doing that alone is going to put you ahead of debt snowball majority of the time. Just that alone, because you're increasing the power of your cash flow rather than separating it, right? You're like, okay, on this day I'm going to pay this bill, and on that day I'm going to pay this bill, and on this day I'm going to pay that bill. Rather, send all of the income and park it in the line right before the bill is due. Boom, you pull it out, bam. So this means that the whole month you had all your income knocking down this one debt, creating so much velocity, crazy, right? So that's what we had to fix here. So these payments, 396, 477, 604, it's all coming out of this expense number right here. And we still have that cash flow of 712. So what they were doing is they would take that 712 and they would send money here, send money there, send money here. No bueno. We don't do that. We pick our main debt tool. So now the question is, Denzel, how do I pick, right? So just so you know, we picked this one. Here are my reasons why. Couple things that were floating through my mind. Number one, that we can do a process of elimination. This HELOC right here actually got locked on us. And I tell you guys this all the time, why we cannot over leverage ourselves when we're doing velocity banking, or even when you're not doing velocity banking and you have an open revolving line of credit. We don't want to max out our debt tools, nor do we want to leave them maxed out. But here's the thing. Here's the big thing. Life happens. Okay? Life happens. If you're in the house and life happened to you, it is a part of life, by the way. It's going to happen. Our strategy to combat that makes all the difference. Our strategy to combat that makes all the difference, as well as this component right here that can improve the whole situation, the faith component. Can't leave that out, right? So we need both. So I just wanted to lay that out because I get it, right? I'm not diminishing you in any way if you come to me with jacked up numbers. That's my whole ball game. That is how I operate best. Bring me your jacked up situation. Bring me your mess. God has given me the capacity to withstand the life happens, the pressures of your situations, and I'm still able to operate at peak performance, right? And past peak performance. Okay? So bring it to me. Don't wait till you're 6 feet under and then want me to do magic because you heard about an awesome concept called velocity banking. And now you want me to do magic. There's no magic. It's faith and works. Combine it. Recipe for dominion, my friend. It's simple as that. But let's continue so I don't go off in a tangent. Three main debt tools. How did I decide? Well, we did process of elimination. This HELOC is no longer a debt tool because it turned into a locked line of credit. So when I pay into it 477, or if I pay all my income in, I cannot withdraw the funds. Why? Maybe they maxed it out. They hit max and then the bank locked it on them, or just because they're near max and they locked it on them, or maybe their property decreased in value. I don't know the full situation. We're actually confirming that right now, but the client was informing me that they were like, when I pay into it, I don't see the available credit. And that's the indication that they may have locked it on you. When you can no longer see the available credit available for you to draw, that could mean that they locked it on us, right? So process of elimination. Now we're just left with these two, right? This is a higher credit limit. You might say, why don't we go after the higher credit limit one? And there's space. That's what I was thinking too. Initially, I was here. I was here because of this number being higher, 604 over the 396, and because the rate was the same. So on a higher balance, I could technically do more damage. Actually, I could do more damage because the payment is, there's more money coming here than here. 604 over 396. That's where I initially was. And then she told me I'm at a fixed rate over here. I think that was the turning point for me. That was a big factor. It was a fixed rate only because of the environment that we're in today. Because I'm also paying attention to that. Interest rates are going to go up again. Like, it's going to happen. It's already happened like 4 times already this year. Probably going to happen again in Q1, maybe once or 2 more times before they stop. So interest rates are continuously increasing. What I was thinking in my head was, okay, I'll stick to the fixed rate. If interest rates go up, then this amount will increase. It's going to increase her payment. But by the time that occurs, we would have done so much damage over here that I can then bring this higher credit limit, this higher interest rate, to the lower rate. That's another big factor for me when choosing between your debt tools, is I typically will choose the lower rate line. So when we were discussing, before she told me that this HELOC was frozen, right, I said we should use this one because this is at a 6.75 variable, lower than both of them. And even if the rate did go up, it's only going to go up by however much the Fed increased the rate by. So it might say it goes up 0.5. Well, now I'm at 7.25. It's still less than 7.75 fixed. So I have plenty of time here, not a whole lot of time, but a good amount of time to create a lot of damage. Plus the 477 is a sweet spot. So I was like, okay, there's more cash flow here. The balance owed is very similar and a lower rate. So initially, guys, I was here. Then I went to here, right? Then she told me this was locked. So I was like, okay, no. Then I was here. Then she told me this was fixed. And I was like, okay, I'm going to settle here. So again, if you've got multiple debt tools, you're trying to decide, I would say look at the lowest rate out of your main debt tools, out of all the debt tools. If there's a fixed rate option in any one of them, I may consider that. And this is another factor here. Whichever debt tool is further away from max out is also going to be attractive to me because I can knock that down a little bit more effectively and then chunk faster to that other debt tool, right, when the time comes. So 3 main debt tools, 4 major numbers, cash on hand, over 100. These are the other debts that we're focusing on. We got 3 loans, okay? 34 grand, 61 grand, 98 grand, all amortized, 7.99, 10.99, 7.94, all of them higher than 7.75 simple interest. So we don't even need to verify the math to say that, hey, 7.99, 10.99, 7.94 is higher than 7.75. If all I did was consolidate, move debt from here to here, I'm going to go faster than debt snowball, period. And then these are the payments. 1137, 1250, 1210. Lot of cash flow drainage here. Major leak in our bucket, right, of the finances. And then here are the goals. They want to achieve financial independence in the next 5 years. We're 48 years old and 51 years old, right? So in the next 5 years, we want to achieve financial independence. Now, the definition from the FIRE community of financial independence, what that actually means, because a lot of people have no idea what this means. They think making more money than where they're at today or having a lump sum of money is financial independence. No. Financial independence is when you have enough money coming in, passive, that is equal to or more than your cost of living, your lifestyle. So in 5 years, the goal is to have $12,888 coming in passively, not active, passively. Maybe, slight activity here and there, but you know what I mean? Like, I know I'm no longer like trading hours for dollars, right? Where that's majority of where I make my money. So that's financial independence. We want to do that in 5 years. We also want to become near debt free. Okay. And what I mean by that is the certain debts that we want to eliminate, which is the 3 debts over here and all of the credit lines they want to get rid of. That is, if you add all this up, that's a really big portion of the 1.1 million. And they also want to do infinite banking within the 5 years. We want to get some policies in place. The goal is 4 because they're a family of 4, husband, wife, 2 kids. So 4 policies would be the initial goal. And then obviously we can keep going up from there. Cool. Just gave you all the context. Here's the strategy. First, doing velocity banking. We've decided our debt tool. Boom. Second, lien. This is with figure. Okay. We owe $55,246. What is our first move? Clients, ladies, gentlemen, moms, dads. What do? All income into the line of credit. This is my new checking account. Client has to move all their banking to that bank, right? Bill pay to that bank. Increases efficiency. So do the math. 55,246 times 7.75% fixed. We're looking at $4,281.56 in total interest in a year if I did nothing but just pay the interest. No principal. That's the total amount of interest that I can pay. Clearly, that's not what we're doing, right? We're not paying anywhere near that amount. But I still give you that context, and then you divide that by 365. Our daily cost of borrowing is $11.73 a day for however long I owe $55,246, right? We're not even going to owe that for a day, but I simply do that to create room for error. We're in December of 2022. This will all likely come into practice this month with the client because I just spoke to them, 2-3 days ago. So this will likely come into play, all of this, moving the banking, all that will get done this month, and then probably by January will be full force, right, of 2023. So I'm going to assume, right, I'm going to lose a month on purpose to create room for error, and we're going to assume we're in January of 2023, starting at a balance of 55,246. That's just going to create room for error, helps with the projection of where we should be, right? So income goes in 13,600. The balance goes down to 41,646, being the lowest amount. That's not actually what will happen, right? Unless the person, if you're someone that gets paid monthly, then yes, that does happen. But if you're bi-weekly, weekly, right, the money is coming in different times. So it's a total of 13,600 went in, right? But the balance never actually hit 41,646. I'm just getting an average, right? So I take that, times it by the fixed rate. Boom, we're at 32,227.56. Divide by 365, $8.84 a day. Look how we dropped, right? Then expenses come out. Nothing got paid off yet, right? 12,888, but this is an error, okay? Why is this an error, Denzel? Well, we're no longer paying $396 out of the income. How can that be, Denzel? Well, when you dumped your income in to the HELOC, that removed the payment. So there's no longer a principal payment. It's just interest. And interest gets pulled either on a daily basis when money goes in and money comes out. Interest gets calculated, or it's applied on the due date. And that interest is coming out of the credit limit available, not your expenses. So we don't qualify that as an expense because that's money coming out of the tool, it's not. It's staying in the tool. So that all that money, all that 13.6, when my income goes into the line, it's principal first. Now, because this is a second lien HELOC, where it's principal and interest payments, anytime we pay into the HELOC, the only interest we pay is for that day, that money that went in or the previous days, right? So the payment gets eliminated. That 396 becomes cash flow. So technically, instead of 1288, right, coming out of the HELOC, 1288 is no longer coming out of the HELOC. It's 1288 minus 396. So we're really at 12,492. But again, created room for error. But I just wanted to show you that when you're doing your numbers, the payment gets removed. Of that 396, whatever the interest comes out to is less than whatever you were at before. So you're at a net cash flow gain just by switching to velocity banking. You create a net higher cash flow without doing anything. Didn't even pay anything off yet. We're simply improving that 396 number to be more effective to the overall balance owed. Are you with me? Comment below. That's clear, Denzel. Or comment, you lost me. Right? And I'll address it later. So, expenses come out. And the 1,000 in savings that's coming from here is being deposited into the HELOC one time a month, $1,000 payment. The most effective thing to do if you're going to incorporate this kind of a strategy where you use savings to help increase velocity in your strategy, you're going to want to apply that 1,000 on the same day that you receive income. Combine it together, becomes even more powerful, right? So that's a little tip there. So we'll end up at around 53,534 owed times 7.75, 4,148, 1136. This is your average daily cost of borrowing, right? You then, to get the median number of the three, add the 3, divide by 3. You get $10.64, then times it by 30 days. We're looking at about $319.36, right, in interest. This is less than what they were paying here. Do you see that? 396 became 319.36. From that 396, when they just make the payment of 396 on the due date, they're paying more than 319 in interest, right? Want me to prove it? Here we go. 4,281.56 divide by 12. 356.73, right? Do that again. 4,281.56, right? That's that top line number from the beginning. Divide by 12. $356.79 from 319.36. That is a $37.43 difference just in the first month, guys. The second month, it's going to expand. That number is going to be higher and higher and higher and higher. Just doing that alone, guys, I know $37 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but in the velocity banking world, it's a lot. It totally adds up very quickly, guys. This is what we have to pay attention to when you're doing velocity banking, is these little numbers here. Because when you start adding up everything else that you're doing, this is what propels you way past debt snowball, debt avalanche. This is the math nobody does online, because they keep comparing just the cash flow. Oh, 712 and 396. If you just made extra payments each and every month, then it's going to go faster than, and I'm like, no, buddy. No, look. This is the difference right here. I'm $37.43 ahead of you, and I didn't even pay anything off yet. I just simply reroute it. Reroute. Watch this. Then we add gravy on top. Credit card, bills. Out of the $12,888, if we have about just $1,000 that we can run through a credit card and get 2%, maybe 3% in cashback rewards, guys, for every $1,000 that we run through credit cards, we could get maybe $20, $30 plus in cashback rewards each and every month. This is another thing that you don't do in the debt snowball Dave Ramsey world. So now I'm $20, $30, $40, $50, $100 ahead of you each and every month. Where do you think that money is going? That money is actually not going anywhere. It's staying in the HELOC, because the cash back, you apply it to the credit card statement, which means less money comes out of your what? Your debt tool. Which means less interest over here. Now that $37 then becomes $42. That's another $5, another $7, another $9 each and every month, increasing. Okay? So that is the math behind the math that most people never do. And we're now going to look at some other opportunities that we can implement into our velocity banking strategy to really create some acceleration, which is a 401k loan. This is very effective in the right situation, right? Numbers, okay? We have to map everything out. This is a client that has, what is it? Let me look at my notes. Bear with me. This client has, over 300 plus thousand in a 401k. Okay. Now, we could borrow from an asset such as a 401k loan, an IRA, right? Retirement account, pension fund, TSP, right? All those different terms. We could borrow from that asset, gives us capital to maybe wipe out some of your high interest debt. And then instead of sending that interest to the institution, you're now paying yourself back the interest. Now, here's what I want to do, guys, because I'm not the expert on 401ks by any means, okay? Never had one, never will. All right? Here's what I would like to get some clarification on. We're going to do some market research together to really verify if what I'm saying is factual and true, right? So I'm going to share my screen in a minute, but I want to share some details here regarding 401k loans. I'm just going to make a statement here. You say, yes, that's correct, Denzel. No, that's not correct, right? Let me know if that's if I'm saying the right stuff here. So when I take out a 401k loan, I'm charged an interest rate. This is true. Yes. Okay, you agree with that. That interest rate that I'm being charged goes back into my 401k account. So I'm paying myself interest. I don't lose that interest. Is this true? Yes or no? Put a yes in the comment. That's true, Denzel. When you borrow from your 401k, right, the interest goes back into your account along with the principal dollars that you initially borrowed. Is that true? Yes or no? I read somewhere that that's the case. When you pay yourself back the interest, you're using after-taxed dollars, right? You're using after-taxed dollars to pay that 401k loan, right? And at the end of the 401k loan, when I'm 59 and a half, and I start to withdraw, that interest that you pay to your 401k loan, you're now going to get taxed a second time because you got taxed on the income you're making today, taxed. You have a net income that goes into your paycheck, goes into your checking account, and then you paid interest, right? It might come right out of your paycheck, goes into the 401k. Now that money is no longer growing tax. Oh, it is growing. It's growing tax deferred, but you got taxed. You didn't get a deduction on the interest on your income today. Is that true? You don't get a deduction on the interest that you pay on a 401k loan, because when you take money out against your 401k loan, that's not a taxable event, and you can't get a deduction for debt, right? Okay, there's another yes there. All right. So yes and yes. Someone said no, right? But we're gonna do market research and see, am I crazy here or what? So now, when you go to withdraw funds, you get taxed again on all that interest that you paid in the 401k loan. Now, how do you measure that? Does it make sense to do that? Does it make sense to borrow from a 401k loan to wipe out interest, higher interest over here, institutional debt? Is there an offsetting effect that would occur, or do I end up a negative years down the road? So I get a positive now because I recover the cash flow today, right? And you might say, listen, Denzel, I'm at a point where I don't even like my 401k anymore. It's losing money, right? I'm paying exorbitant fees. So maybe you might have come to the conclusion where you stopped funding it. You're not even putting any more money into it. So you redirect that cash flow and you're going to put it into a different vehicle that maybe can create tax-free income, right? Passive income through a business, real estate, and other things. You might be having that dilemma, right? If that's the case, then it's not even a matter of a decision. It's you're easily gonna, borrow from here. Let me fix today's situation now, right? Fix today's situation, and then I'm creating my new retirement plan. I'm creating my new wealth creation plan away from 401ks, right? If you're in that camp, then we're not even having an argument. But if you're like, no, I love my 401k, I love it, right? Yet you have no idea what your cost of borrowing is. You have no idea what your fees are, your account management fees, your annual fees. You have no idea what you're actually earning, because you say you're getting an average rate of return of 6 to 8% or whatever. But what is your internal rate of return? You don't even know. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. Just saying, this is, you getting a clear understanding of how you're operating today, and then what can we do? So here's the research that I did. This is called Beagle, meetbeagle.com. Looks like a blogging platform or something, and they have a lot of content on 401k loans and different things. Okay. So here we go. Where did I find it? Allows you to purchase, borrow against their retirement savings, pay back the loan over time. The interest you pay on a 401k loan goes back to your retirement savings, and it will help you grow your savings further. You can borrow up to 50 grand if you have 100, so roughly 50% is what we could take out. A 401k loan allows participants greater flexibility in loan repayment compared to when using a bank loan. If your 401k loan has a term of 5 years, you can choose to repay the entire loan early without paying prepayment penalties. You can continue making the regular 401k contributions while repaying the loan using automatic payroll deductions. Okay? You're not subject to credit checks, so that helps. All right, so according to this website, yes, when you pay interest, it goes back into the retirement account. Where does loan interest go? Right? It goes back into your account. However, it may end up costing you more down the line. Why is that? Well, I read here that there are some origination fees to even get the loan. So you have to factor that into our cost. And let's see. Tapping into, let me make sure y'all can see that. Tapping into 401k loan can be a great way of accessing. When faced a significant emergency fund. However, okay. Where did I see it? This is good information, right? It's pointing you to the stuff. Fortunately, both brands go directly. Okay, this helps you bring it back up to where it was before you took the loan account. The interest also makes up for the lost compounding interest your 401k would have received in the meantime. So does that mean that when I take out a 401k loan, if I got 340 grand in there, am I selling stocks? Am I selling my index fund, my mutual funds? Are they being sold to then give me that loan, right? Or are the administrator, the facilitator, the one that's holding my 401k account, are they keeping the returns of, say I got 340 in there and I take out 100, am I only going to earn a rate of return on 240? That's something that you would need to talk to that 401k provider about. Try to get more transparency there. Try to get more details. Right. While the interest typically is between 1 and 2% higher than the prime interest rate. I think prime right now is 6.25 or 6.75. So my rate would be 7.75. I don't know. It depends on what industry you work for, because I've had clients with TSP accounts in different types of government 401ks where the rates are much lower. And then people who work in the hospital industry or nurses, there's usually different parameters where I've seen loan rates as low as 3, 4. I've even seen a loan rate, 401k loan rate at 1.75%, but that was 2-3 years ago. I don't know if that's changed since then. So we're going to get those details. We're going to find out, okay, if it makes sense. The goal would be to get a rate that's obviously less than whatever I'm paying off, right? And then we've got origination, administration fees. Okay. The negative. Okay, here we go. It's not entirely a no-lose deal. You see, when you make payments towards your 401k loan, you do so with after-tax money. This is, in essence, eliminates the tax-deferred benefits of your 401k because you're paying your 401k loan after-tax money. You're paying taxes before you put money back into your 401k account. However, when you take that money out during retirement, you'll be taxed on that money again. This creates a double taxation effect on the money you put into your 401k. So while tapping into your 401k loan may get you out of the jam, because that's what we're solving for, it can have costly effects down the road. Okay. The other option, if a 401k loan doesn't make sense, then what about a securities-backed line of credit rates? Or is it called a margin account? I think they're called margin accounts. Margin rates as low as 4.33%. So 25K would be 5.33. 300 grand. The more money you got, looks like the lower the rate is. Margin rates. Lowest margin fees, so there might be some fees. So a margin account, I believe, I don't know if it applies to the 401k or if it's only to your brokerage account. So you guys can educate me there. But I was telling the client that we could look at, once you call them, we ask them if they offer a line of credit instead of a 401k loan. It might be cheaper to do a line of credit considering the fees and the costs and things like that. So we did a little research there. Let's take it back to the board. Okay. And let me look at some of what you guys are saying. So Dallin says no, right? Alexi says no. Ben says yes, you pay yourself interest. Andre, yes. Rachel, yes. Ben says yes, it is true, I've done it twice. So that's more credibility there. Interest goes to the brokerage that has loaned you those funds, okay? But according to Ben, that's not the case. So is it a case-by-case? Could be a case-by-case situation. Adrian says no. Rachel, yes again. Risk is if you leave your employer, often loan becomes due within 30 to 90 days. Okay. Also, payments are deducted from pay. All right. Good to know. Not unless it's classified for business or maybe buying a home, right? You are paying a fee, then interest. Yes, you pay. Okay. All right. So we got some back and forth, right? So we have to, it sounds like it's case by case. Depending on the loan, the 401k provider, you would need to get those details in advance before you make a move. I believe it is sold. It's not like infinite banking, right? Money is only in one place at a time. 401k loan is always better than paying the loan to third party. And then obviously there's the con if I lose my job. I will say that the clients on the board here, nurse, information tech, very solid careers. They've been in it for multiple years. Don't see them losing their jobs. Margin accounts can destroy your entire investment account. Very true. So there's a management thing to that as well. No retirement account allows margin. Okay. So not a margin account, but can I get a line of credit against my 401k? Can I go to another bank and get what's called a securities-backed line of credit at maybe a 4 to 6% rate against an asset that I have, and then pull from that line to pay off some debts over here? Maybe that's an option. And then, the 401k loan is something on the table too. So here's what I thought about if I was in this position. I was like, I got 340 sitting, and I'm paying exorbitant fees on this thing probably. How can I put this thing to work? So I looked at these two debts over here. We got a 7.99, 10.99. If you add the two, 34,503 plus 61,056, that's 95,559. Let's say I took that out of here, 401k loan, and I recover 1,137, 1250, and I move 7.99 and 10.99 gets moved to maybe anywhere between 4 and 6%. That's what I'm thinking is where the rate might be at on a loan. Anything below 7 it's going to be more attractive. If I'm not mistaken, it's the other thing we have to verify. The 401k loan interest, is it simple or amortized? I believe it is simple interest, compounding. Okay? I don't think it's amortized. I do believe that it's simple interest, which would make the loan cost cheaper than an amortized 7.99 or 10.99. So the cash flow recovery would be $2,387, and then assuming I just did 95 and divided it by 60 months, 5-year term, maybe the payment's somewhere around $1,650, so you net $737. Okay? So if we net $737, right, cash flow, plus the $1,000 that she's pulling from savings, plus the $712 that I already have plus the 396, 2,845. So I go from 712 cash flow per month, and with a couple of moves, I'm at 2,845. These debts are now gone. And my dollars here are now working in my favor more effectively in the line of credit and in the 401k loan. Would you guys agree with that? Comment below. I agree that my 1,137 and my 1,250 is working in my favor despite the pros and cons of taking out a 401k loan. I will still come out positive because of the amount of savings here. My credit score goes up, right? Cash flow increases today, right now. And the interest that I was paying over here, it now comes back to my account, bring me back to, so I'm, going to be paying that $1,650 moving forward, but I still net positive cash flow going to the HELOC, which reduces that rate of the 7.75 to maybe 3.5, maybe lower. So there's a lot of moving parts going on. How do we measure all of that? Right? We got to write it all out. Okay. And this is what I was doing with the client. Right? I'm giving you the summarized version, but I'm giving you the points to focus on. There's a savings here. There's a cash flow recovery here. Interest goes back into this asset here. There's a savings and interest here. Savings and interest here. Cash flow, like, it's all coming together. So with that being said, if I'm at, say, 2,845 in cash flow moving forward, balance was somewhere around 53,534, right? Cost of interest in the first month was 319.36. Maybe you were able to reduce it by $30, so it's at 280, 275, right? Let's say they're able to bring that down to like 275 from all the bills that they have. That's food, gas, miscellaneous, phone bill, car insurance, right? It's everything. Whatever they can run through a credit card to get cashback rewards, that's our second tool. Main tool, second lien HELOC, second tool credit card. Still, all money goes in, money comes out, pays that credit card when that's due, on the due date. All the money sits parked in the line. All right. So I'm going to go quick to try to give myself an idea of when I can actually make my first chunk inside of the HELOC to the next debt, right? So if I'm at 53,534, here's what I do with my clients just to go fast with it, right? This is just being quick, where I'm like minus income minus 1,000, right? Because that was the savings. I'm like, all right. So now we're in February 2023, right? Because I said I skipped December. Going right into January. This was January. February. Go from 1288 minus, what was it? Yeah, 1288 minus 396 minus 737. So new expense number, now we're at 11,755. That's less dollars coming out of the tool, right? I think I did that right. Maybe I made a mistake. Don't think I did, because again, this 1,000 is not coming from income. It's just being dumped into the line. So it's not increasing income. It's not decreasing expenses. It's just an extra 1K, right? So how do we verify that? 2,845 minus 1,000 minus 712, 1133. Yeah, I believe I had that right. Okay, cool. So 38,934 plus expenses, 11,755. End of February, here's where we're at. I didn't include interest, so the number will be a little bit higher. But let's keep it going. Boom. This is what I do. Try and get a range. Try to be quick with it. That's end of February, March. Considering the numbers stay the same. And again, like I mentioned, she could, between now and then, maybe she does convince husband, hey, by the way, I just paid off these 2 loans. Want to see how I did it? That might turn him on. Be like, what? You did what? Somebody just got taller, right? So, income goes in, expenses out. $45,154. May. And then you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to minus the 1,000. So minus 1,000 for March, 1,000 for April, 1,000 for May. So 42,154. All right, so we got January, February, March, April, May. I would advise this client, I'd say, yeah, let's do velocity banking for about 6 to 9 months to see where we end up, right? Then from there, there's another piece of detail that is happening with this particular situation. They have an IRS debt, okay? In the past, they took out 401k money, and there was I forgot what the situation was, but instead of it being a loan, they thought it was a loan. They ended up, it was just a withdrawal of a lump sum amount of money. They didn't realize, then they had to pay taxes on that money. So they're paying right now $543 a month to the IRS. That is cash flow that we could potentially recover. They're working on getting me the total amount owed, and they're finding out if interest is being calculated on this debt. I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. I'm pretty sure they're getting charged interest, and we have to find out what the remaining balance is. If it's like 20 grand, 10 grand, something like that, owed, left, because they've been paying this for a while, since I want to say around when COVID started is when they did that CARES Act thing, and they did something, right? So whatever is owed, that's probably where I might chunk next. It might be very attractive because 543 is quite a bit of money to recapture. And when we look at the other debts that are going on, 52 grand is really high, 97,000 is really high, 98,000 really high. I can't really pay anything off yet, so I'd have to do that into multiple chunks. The goal right now is to recover as much cash flow today as possible, as quickly as possible. And so the most next attractive thing that we want to go after is probably that IRS debt, get that 543, and that's going to bring my cash flow up to over 3,000 in a matter of like under a year. We go from 712 to now over 3,000 plus in cash flow. By then, I'm pretty sure husband jumps on board, income goes up, cash flow goes up. It's really going to improve this. The goal on the main debt tool, right? 55,391 times 2/3 is 36,000. So I want to see them get the balance below 36K before I make the next chunk, right? Now, when we look at the next thing that we could chunk at, going back to the whole not over leveraging ourselves, the only time it makes sense to go above 2/3 leveraged is when cash flow times 12 exceeds your credit limit times 2/3. Right? So if her cash flow is above 36,000, I might be motivated to maybe go a little bit higher to go above this. But the goal right now is to just create space in the HELOC, right? We want to create space. So if I'm at, 2845 plus 543, so 3,388, let's say that's new cash flow. I'm at 40 grand, 656. By the time I get here, what will the balance be on the IRS? We don't know. We don't have that details yet. If it's anywhere between 15 and 20 grand, I'm okay with either doing this. The safest thing she could probably do is, we know that cash flow times 12, when we pay that off, goes to 40,656. So I'll write that. That would be cash flow times 12. Conservative. Then we say, okay, 40,656 minus, say, 20. I would want to maybe bring the line down to 20,656, right? So I'll do velocity banking 6 to 9 months, and we'll see where's the balance at, right? What do we bring it down to? Then from there, if it's not near here, then we'll go a little bit more to about 12 months being the max. By the 12th month, we should be here. And even if we're not, I'm okay with going a little bit higher than that 40, which is above 2/3. See how I did that? Because of the cash flow opportunity, and understanding that if at cash flow of 712, right, 1712, with income 13.6 and expenses at 12,492, if those numbers got me a net borrowing costs in the first month at 275, understand that when there's more cash flow, your net borrowing cost is going to be even less than that, even if it's still a high balance owed. There's virtually no interest being charged on here. And then when you look at what did we do with the money? Oh, well, we rerouted all that higher interest debt into 7.75. 7.75 became less than 3%. And then it got offset by whatever interest I was already paying. So it's like a double effect of savings that just compound on each other. And that's where you get that acceleration, right? So that would be the plan. And let me run it a little bit more to get an idea of where we'll be at. So 42,154 minus income plus expenses 11,755 minus 1,000. So it's May. So we got 39,309. That's June. That's 6 months, right? Let's go all the way to 9. Boom. 37. Oh, and then you got to minus $1,000. 36. Boom. Minus $1,000. 33. Getting close. July, August. So June. So 6, 7, 8. Let's see where we're at by month 9. Boom. 30 grand. Not including interest. not including husband getting on board, not including her making more money, saving, spending less, conservative, right? Somewhere around 30 grand. So if we're at month 9, she feels comfortable, and the IRS debt is, say, 20 owed, say that's the case, I would assume it would be less than 20, because I don't think they borrowed more than 100 grand. So how much taxes is on 100 grand? It's like 30 something %, right? They're in New Jersey, so they're probably in a high tax. I think it's a high tax state, if I'm not mistaken. So they might have initially in 2020. By 2021 is when they found out that they owed it. And so I would bet that they've been paying 543 at least for a year, maybe longer. So if it's 20, then it would bring me back up to near maxed out again, right? 50 from 55K. I may not feel comfortable. Personally, I may not feel comfortable. I say, let's go a little bit longer, right? Let's go the full 12. Let's just keep doing velocity banking on the debt tool, right? Let's go a little bit longer. So 30,774 minus income plus expenses minus savings. Because remember, she's doing that whole strategy of moving 1,000, moving 1,000, moving 1,000 for one whole year. So I want to see what that net result would look like. So that's September, October, boom, minus 1,000. We're at 25,008 for November. I think I got to go one more month, right? To make it the full 12. Look at that. So 22,239 by December 23rd, right? And let's say the balance then is now it's like 17,000, let's say, owed, plus 22,239. 30. Look how the numbers align. Look how they align. Don't you like it when the numbers just kind of like, whoa, okay, I see where he's going. I see where he's going. All right, cool. So that's my parameter, is you take cash flow times 12 of what you would pay off. So we would pay off 543, brings the cash flow over 3 grand, times it, we got 40,656. That's my new high, which is above 2/3, 36 grand, off of the credit limit of 55,391. So cash flow times 12 is above 2/3. Okay, that's my new high. If I feel comfortable going above this, I would only do it maybe a couple more thousand to do it sooner, to do the chunk sooner, because obviously the sooner you make the chunk, the faster you get to the cash flow, the faster you're knocking down the line of credit again itself. This is another case in point of not having to wait to get to zero to make the next chunk. At 22,000, their cost of borrowing is probably under $100. Right? And then you factor in the cashback rewards, it's probably like $70. So there's just nothing, right? From there, guys, this is a whole year of doing velocity banking, and I would be willing to bet that probably, I gave her the time that I said maybe 1 to 2 years of velocity banking, we pay off the tool itself, right? We bring that down. So now we have something to work with. We paid off near 100,000+ over here, and that got moved into the 401k loan. We're making monthly payments over there. They might get to the point where they're like, you know what? I'm going to stop contributing to that and put more attention on debt elimination. Maybe they might want to do that. Maybe they don't, so they keep it. I leave that up to the client. It's preferences. We run the math on both scenarios to see which one is most effective for them, right? While all that's going on, just know that we're still making our monthly payments on all the other debts, right? So equity in the property is going up. Within 1 to 2 years, I'm definitely going to maybe apply for an increase on the HELOC, just creating more space. This 1210, this is going to be down quite a bit 1 to 2 years from now, right? In that 1 to 2 year time frame, we will likely, the next debt after paying off IRS, the next debt that we will most likely hit will be this, right? Because this is such a low payment for 52, and this is 604, and this is interest only. So that balance is going to stay the same, right? Versus this 1210 is principal and interest. That 98 is going to drop much faster than 97. And it'll probably line up at somewhere around this number. It'll get close to it, and we'll be like 1210 or 477. We'll go with 1210. Once this is gone, we can then have the discussion of infinite banking. Or what could happen is if they feel comfortable, they might say, you know what? I want to take a portion of that savings, right? They're already doing 1K for the next 12 months. So it'll bring the balance down from 101 minus 12. They might say, I want to take 10, 15, 20% of that savings, and I want to move it over into IBC, right? Into a policy. They might want to do that. Or they might wait, right? So if they didn't want to wait, then we have justification of doing velocity and then also putting a policy in place because they have capital over here that is not being used currently. Now, in this situation, I know that they have plans for this 100K, so they might want to keep that liquid, right? But 2 years from now, cash flow is up 4 or 5 grand. We're in a very healthy position to now consider throwing in IBC into the equation to improve their savings strategy and their investment strategy down the line. So I'm going to share my screen again and share with you guys the parameters that I personally have in place when I'm developing a policy design for a client. So I think you guys can see that. Yeah. Let's go like that. I think you guys can see that clearly. Yes, you can. Okay, cool. Here are my parameters. This is what I like to see when I'm working with clients that are in debt, or maybe you're not in a whole lot of debt. You're looking at the infinite banking concept and you're like, I want to do this. I want to practice this. I want to put it in place. This is just a preference. This does not mean you have to have this. This is just a preference that I know that you're in a healthy financial position. The last thing that I want as a licensed insurance agent is to write a policy for someone that can't pay it 3 years from now because they were thinking too small. They were a small thinker, right? I don't like to work with small thinkers. So when you become a client of mine, just know that it's like automatically, just by hanging out with me, going through these 1.5, 2.5 hour case studies, just by being here, you are not a small thinker. So I'm not calling you a small thinker by any means. I'm just challenging that thought process that you have, that the preconceptions that are in your mind that hold you back. I want to unlock that into big think. Velocity banking forces you to think big. Infinite banking forces you to think big. When you get around like-minded kingdom people, it just puts you in an environment where you got to think big. You're thinking beyond yourself. You're thinking beyond your family, right? You're thinking community. You're thinking kingdom, right? So here are parameters that are like, okay, this is a standard of measurement to see, am I qualified for this? Just qualifying yourself. Does this make sense for me to move forward? Have I watched enough material, read enough books on this strategy to feel really confident that I'm not going to get duped by any insurance agent? I'm not going to get sold into a strategy. I'm coming to the table with a strategy. And then I'm telling the agent what I want. It's like going into a dealership and you're saying, I want this car, this trim, this color, this inside interior color, this exterior, these wheels, that. And then the car salesman has to go and find that in their inventory rather than he or she tell you what you should get. You don't want to go into the conversation with an infinite banking agent where they're telling you what to do. Right? And I'm putting myself on the spot. I don't want to tell you what to do with infinite banking. I want you to come up with a strategy that we can go over together so that I'm in alignment with what you got going on, right? So here are the parameters. Cash flow 1,500 or more consecutively, monthly, conservative. So conservative, 1,500 a month, and consecutively, you're doing that month over month, preferably. The second thing is you have the capital ready to go, whether it's through a debt tool like a HELOC or PLOC, credit card where you do the balance transfer, or cash on hand, or some kind of an asset that you can pull from. Capital is ready to go to max fund it the first year so that we can immediately borrow and go to work with it. And then your cash flow times 12, right? Your cash flow per year times 2/3 will help us determine a healthy funding amount. So if I'm cash flowing 100 grand a year, 2/3 of that is 66 grand. That is doable because I cash flow 100 grand a year. So I could do 66,000 or 60,000 or 50. But if you're like, give me $100,000 policy, okay, well, we have to figure out, are you doing anything with the 100, or is it just a matter of being able to dump as much dollars as humanly possible into that account? And okay, as long as we're clear on what we want to do with our money, right? You're coming to the situation. This is your money, right? Your situation. This is our finances together that we're all strategizing. Don't come to the table completely blind, right? You don't want to do that. The next is know how long we want to fund the policy and for how much, right? So we determine how much by looking at our debt tool, looking at our assets, looking at 4 major numbers, cash flow times 12, times it by 2/3, gives us a range, right? And then we figure out, okay, I'm 50 years old. I would like to fund this for the next 20 years till I'm age 70 or age 80, 75. Or you might say, you know what, in my family, the average lifespan of my family is 95 years old. So I want to design a policy where I'm funding it all the way up to 95 or maybe 90, right? You can do it that way. What I like to do with some of my clients is I try to ask them questions to determine their commitment level. Commitment. Did I spell that right? Yeah, commitment levels. What is that, Denzel? What is my commitment levels? Well, I would ask you how long you've been married, right? You might say 15 years. I say, okay, so you've been successfully married for 15 years. Awesome. Cool. How old are your kids? Oh, I have a 20-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 15-year-old. Okay, so you've been raising kids on average for, 15 to 18 years. Okay, cool. Nice. Good stuff. So maybe you're raising kids and doing that for 20 years. And then I say, saving. How long have you been saving, mom and dad? Oh, we've been doing that. We've consecutively saved for the last 14 years. Investing. Mom and dad, how long have you been investing? We're kind of new at that. We've only been investing for the last 5 years, right? So these are not like deep emotional questions. These are surface level questions that I'm able to gather from you guys. And then what I'll do is I'll add up those numbers and get the average commitment span, right? So I say, all right, 20 years plus 14 years plus 5 plus 15 divided by 4. This person has an average commitment level of 13.5 years, right? This is how I determine length and time of funding, because it's easier said than done to tell a client to fund it forever. I mean, that's easy to say that, but that is like, show me a case study where someone has actually done that. I have not seen it from anyone in the infinite banking space. I have never seen someone show a case study of somebody funding a policy for over 40 years consecutively, for over 30 years. I have not seen it, right? But I'm 26 years old. I've only been in the industry for 5 years, right? So I still got a lot to learn. But if this was a popular stance, then shouldn't I be seeing case studies of people funding policies for 40, 50 years in America? I mean, if the average American can't even save $1,000 a month, a year, they can't even hold on to $1,000, the average American, what makes you think they're going to commit to funding a policy for 40, 50 years just because of the whole idea of becoming your own banker? I get it. It's an amazing concept, but it does take time for concepts to sink in, right, guys? It takes time for a concept to sink in. It might take a generation. So if you're 55 years old, you're 50 years old, and your average commitment level based on your history with money is, say, 13.5 years, and that would be my measuring stick. That would be my standard. I say, okay, let's show a policy funding for 14 years, right? Just round it up. 14 years, and maybe we show design funding it for 25 years. So let's say we know we can commit to the next 14 years, but we want to set the goal to do maybe double that number, you know? So maybe 25 years, a little, 10 years above, or double, whatever 14 times 2 is, 28, right? So 28 years, let's say, is the goal. So you're 50, and then by 78, you would have funded a policy for 28 years straight. And in those 28 years, you're now sharing that strategy with the kids. And because they're younger and it sinks in their brain early on, they start doing it as part of the culture in your household. Guess what? By the time you pass, maybe you only funded a policy for 30 years, 25 years, but I can assure you your kids will likely do it for 40 on autopilot. And now you just created a culture that will perpetuate. And then we get to the point where your kids are funding policies for literally their entire life. Now it becomes like, oh, that makes sense. That's why the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, the Morgans and the Fargos and the Chases, right? That's how, and the Fords, that's how they've been able to do things for hundreds and hundreds of years consecutively through multiple generations, right? So it's being able to set that expectation, realistic expectation, set the goals high, obviously. I just don't want to be in a situation where I'm the agent, I wrote you a $50,000, $100,000 policy, and you only intend to fund it for 3 years, 5 years, which is not a bad idea, right? That's not, I'm not saying that's bad. It's It's bad if you say, I want to pay in 100 grand for the next 50 years and you stop by year 5. That's bad because now you paid an exorbitant amount in fees to do that when you could have just did a 5-year policy, a 10-year policy, right? So let's take it to the board real quick. Excuse me. Let's do a recap. 4 major numbers. Here's what we got to know. Got to know your 4 major numbers. Where do you stand financially? Cash on hand, what do you got? Assets, what do you got? Assets, goals, what do you want? Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Give me a timeline, right? Lay out all the debts. I need the balances owed, the interest rates, the monthly payments, the credit limits, the name of the debts. Give me all of it. Give me all of the numeros. Por favor. Please. Please. Give me all the numbers. Please. Then from there, we determine our debt tool. From there, we determine our chunk amount. Cash flow times 12. Credit limit times 2/3. What are we hitting? What's the strategy? From there, velocity banking begins, right? Every 6 to 9 months, I want to try and do a chunk. 12 months being the max. Anything past 12, we're thinking too far out, right? So that means you don't want to make that chunk too big where you can't pay it off within 6 to 9 months or 12 being the max. 4 to 6 is a really good position to be in. From there, doing velocity banking. Then we eventually implement infinite banking. In this case, by year 2, maybe sooner, I could see this family funding a policy in the 30K plus range. That's just one policy. And then maybe from that one, they fund 1-in-1 on the kids, maybe 3K each one, or 4 or 5K each kid. Maybe husband gets on board, his income improves all the situation. Now we're doing 30K and 30K. You know, I can easily see that happening over a period of 2 years. These are not small thinkers. They're not just thinking pay off debt. No, these people want to build business. They want to build generational wealth. They want to accelerate debt. They want to build credit. They want to increase income and cash flow. They want to build their careers. They want to walk in their purpose. This requires big thinking, guys. Big thinking. So, I didn't spend too much time on infinite banking, right? Because I wanted to really show you how we lead up to it, how we get to it, right? So if you've got questions on infinite banking, definitely drop it in the comments section. And what I will do, I'm going to copy paste this link for those that are ready to go with infinite banking. The link is already in the description below this video and every one of my videos. But I'm just going to highlight that comment right there for a bit. For those of you that are ready to take action, I'm going to pin that message so you have it there. That's the action step. Coming out of this case study, that's the action step on the infinite banking side. The velocity banking side, action step, you got 2 options. I got the Finance Geek Ministry, free. No money is required, but work is required. What does that mean, Denzel? Well, if you're willing to spend time watching these case studies, sending me your numbers, sending me your goals, your situation, liking the videos, subscribing, commenting, sharing, giving a testimony, you're exchanging social currency and your work effort in exchange for my time. More than happy to give you my time, right? Finance Geek Ministry seeks to serve moms across the United States, helping them regain their kingdom authority, help them regain their authority in the household, their position in the household, to be effective managers and stewards over the entire household, right? That's the Finance Geek Ministry part. Then there's the business. Those of you who are in here, you're doing 6 figures. You're doing well, right? You're making good income. You're just, you need to tweak some things around, right? Notice, look how we went from 712 cash flow, and in a matter of one year or less, we're at over $3,000 plus. Just we're moving things around, finessing, right? And so you might be someone that's making 13, 15, 20K. I've got case studies of clients bringing in 7 figures a year, right? I got about 2 or 3 clients doing multiple 7 figures a year doing velocity banking. So velocity banking can apply for anyone. It can apply to anyone, just not for every situation at that very moment. You know, timing is key, knowledge is key, discipline. We got to get those things in order, right? So those are the action steps. You can look at the links in the description below. You're like, okay, I want to work with Denzel here. I want to start here. Denzel, I'm in a bad situation. I just need to build credit first. Okay, you talk to my partner, Brittany Green, with personal credit, Sebastian Boyer, business credit, right? All the links are in there. So I am going to scroll to the top here. Recognize you guys. We are now in the Q&A session, okay? I'm an hour and 35 minutes in. Case study is done. We're now in the Q&A part. So if you got questions, drop them now. Drop them now. Drop them now. Let me know. So let's see. Hello to Wealth Wisdom. I'm not sure if you're still in the house, but welcome to you. Let's see. Scroll. We talked about that 401k stuff, right? Boom, Ben, Andre, yep. Andre says no line of credit on 401k. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong there. There might be something. Structured loans only. Gotcha. M1, for example, has asset-based loan facility, 35% of equity balance. Okay. Jesse, good stuff. Retirement accounts cannot have liens, nor can be pledged, hence the custodian. Effectively, funds are in trust. Okay. 401k loan is simple interest, so even if the rate was 7, it's still a big difference to a 10.99, 7.99 amortized. Plus, the payment becomes less, which creates that cash flow net that would sit in the line of credit, the HELOC. 401k contributions are too high up the priority list. Most will lose, yet must be that way. Okay, great. Says I'm amazing at this. Thank you very much. I'm always working on my craft. Mind blowing. If I owed that much, I'd consider taking my life. You're giving people hope. That's powerful stuff. Speaking of which, this is very real, okay? I'm giving you my experience right now, okay? Vulnerable here. We got 50 people in the house. I have 400 plus one-on-one clients, people who talk to me one-to-one, but I have a community base of about 1,000 to 1,100, almost 1,200 clients, paying clients, whether that's through giving, courses, one-on-one sessions, right, coaching, all that good stuff. So most of you are on the call right now on this live stream that are clients. I've been dealing with a lot of death lately, not me personally in my family, but my clients, right? And I feel like I'm an extension of that client. Like I truly want to become friends, not just a coach that just talks finance. I want to talk kingdom. I want to talk eternity. I want to talk politics. I want to talk business, all of it, right? So been having an increasingly amount of clients that are dealing with death, people who are just passing, dying left and right? It's part of life. But what can happen is someone you care about passes away, and then that grief, that pain starts to bleed into your finances. You start making, irrational decisions with your money. You start making poor financial decisions with your money because you're dealing with pain, right? To the point where someone can be depressed, suicidal. It's very real stuff. So there are conversations outside of the strategy that we must address. And you guys know how I am. Very logical, very straightforward. But once I've given you the numbers strategy to it, and now you're going, right? And now we're developing a relationship. My clients feel comfortable sharing these details. Just lost a mom, just lost dad, just lost a spouse, lost a kid, lost this, lost that. And so they share these things because it's bleeding into the finances. And this is where coaching comes into play, where I now get to tap into other resources like the faith department. I now get to open that up a little bit more, right? So that's extremely important. I want to address that, give you guys action steps. You can reach out to me directly if you're dealing with loss that has been it's been bleeding into your finances. The Finance Geek Ministry has a department where we discuss that grief, mourning. How do we push through, right? Just had a session last night with the community and we were discussing this in detail, giving strategies. Like strategy. Here's how you deal with this. Here's how we overcome it, right? Here's how we reduce the hit of that pain, right? So instead of, if I compared it to like a gun, would you rather be shot by a 50 caliber or a 22 millimeter handgun? I'd rather get shot by the handgun than a 50 cal. 50 cal will blow up my arm off, right? So how can we reduce the hit of that grief? Or maybe we look at it differently, because this is not my department. Instead of it looking at like reducing the hit, how can we have certain protocols in place, like having a trust and a will on our family members and ourselves? How do we make sure financial house is in order? How do we ask questions to the people that we care about when you pass away and I'm still here? What do you want me to tell people about you and your legacy, right? And so if there's strategies around that, it may not decrease the pain that you're going through because you lost someone that you really cared about, but it certainly puts you in a very good overall position to deal with the grief and go through that and not have to think, oh my God, they had all this debt. Oh my God, funeral. Oh my God, how's this? And how is this? And how do I do this and this and that? That can make a person go crazy and, like what Building was saying, depressed, suicidal. So that's part of the Finance Geek Ministry. And the very first link in the description, if I'm not mistaken, shows Finance Geek Ministry. Join my private Velocity banking community. You click on that one. That will give you access to my newsletter, and then you'll get invited to Finance Geek Ministry for sure, right? It just gets you on the programming, right? So Q&A portion, here we go. What if you have a healthy amount in savings, 70 grand, but cash flow of only 800 to $1,000? Well, it's kind of like this situation, right? Look, didn't it line up perfectly what you're saying? The person started off 700 of cash flow, but they have 100 grand in savings. They decided to pull 1,000 each and every month to improve the cash flow, to improve the overall situation. So that's a solution right then and there. Look how that lined up. Mr. Manager. Is there greater something? I don't know. Can you do another video on using debt tool HELOC to max fund the policy? It's already been done. If you look at the case studies, it's already been done. Using HELOCs, all of it. Already been accounted for. Andre, IBC policy should be able to receive as much premium as possible for your whole life. Yeah. As such, tax-free income in part is extremely important. Nelson started paying premium at 14 years old. He died at 88. Exactly. He started at 14. When did you start? Right? That's what we have to consider. When we're looking at concepts and we're looking at where someone is coming from, like a Nelson Nash, the dude started at 14, guys. That means he had, daddy, mommy also doing this. How many of you, and I know who I work with, you're the minorities, I know who I work with. What was your mom and dad telling you? Because I know I certainly wasn't getting the information, right? All I was taught was how to make money and spend it. That's my household. Make money, spend it. Christmas, spend it. Birthdays, spend it, baby. Let's drink the coquito, let's play the salsa music, and let's have fun. That's my culture. So how many years is it going to take to drop some of the cultural habits and behaviors that some of you and we grew up in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, to then switch it overnight and copy some dude that funded a policy all the way to 88 years old, or multiple policies all the way to 88 years old? What is the likelihood of you doing that? So that's why I'm just creating those realistic expectations. Realistically, what is the likelihood of me doing that? Right? And I just look at what average Americans are able to do. Like, most of y'all can't stay on a diet. You can't save money. All right? Not can't, you just choose not to, because you don't have the culture yet. You need the culture into you. You gotta, it's like when someone gets born again and they become saved, right? By Jesus's blood, right? They get born again, but you're still sinning tomorrow, right? So now it's a matter of slowly but surely incorporating righteousness, where you're getting in the correct positioning to fix the areas of your life. So maybe it was like alcohol was your biggest issue. So now you're targeting that. So you fix that, but you still curse like nobody's business. But that's not a priority. It's alcohol. And then from there, you work on your mouth, right? And then from there, or maybe before your potty mouth, you got the finances to work on. So it was alcohol, then it was finances, then it's starting a business, then it's working on my language, because, now as a business owner, it ain't cute. It's not attractive to go into a business meeting cursing up a storm. It's just not professional. So you begin to reduce that, reduce. And then you're like, you waste so much time watching TV. So maybe you reduce that. So working on these different things. When I look at other people's successes, I also compare it to where I'm coming from and say, okay, how do I break down what Nelson Nash did in increments, so that I'm setting realistic expectations, goals that I can hit, that are challenging, not over the top where I'm going to feel like a failure if I don't reach it. And then it just like sets you back 3 years, 4 years. We don't want to do that. All right, so that's just where I'm coming from. I might be wrong, guys. I'm okay with being wrong. Trust me. You've heard me say it in my videos where I've been wrong multiple times. Trust me. I'm okay with being wrong. Would it make sense to use your retirement distributions to continue paying the policy? Would it make sense to use your retirement? Yeah. I would say so, because especially if it's tax-free income from like a Roth, right, or HSA. So money distributes, boom, hits your account, move it into the policy, then you borrow out of the policy and you fund either your lifestyle or another acquisition of an investment of some sort. That's my plan. There may be greater issues as it relates to their situation. Okay, yes, that was from your previous comments. Okay. I spoke with IBC yesterday. What does it cost to join the community? Is there a discount for being in your community and theirs? So there is no cost to work with IBC, right? To work with an agent, it does not cost you money. It costs you time. You have to have, you sit down, show your presentation, go through the education. You got to watch the material, put the strategy together. The only cost is the money that you're putting into the policy, right? What I do, I'm specializing in financial coaching and consulting and strategy. So it's a combination of you obtain this product whole life, and then you obtain coaching to go with it. So if you want me to be your coach, right, then I have the different options. Click the links below, go to my website, denzelrodriguez.com, and you'll see the different services that I have available. Just one-on-one coaching, right, like a 1-hour session. Maybe that's all you need, a couple of sessions a year. Or you want a whole package, or you want the whole shebang, right? Or you want a DIY course. I'm providing all those different options. The cost, that was the other part of your question. The my financial course, the lowest price point is $47 a month. And then the highest price point for one-to-one coaching, the full thing, the whole shebang, the whole nine, is $34.97 currently, one-time payment, $34.97. And so that's the range for all the different services that I provide. Okay. Jason, hey, book a call, man. Book a call, man. I want to see how you're doing. I see you commenting in the Facebook group often. You're very active. You're supporting a lot of my followers and community members. So I really appreciate that, Jason. You're doing great work. Guys, like this video, right? What we got? 27 likes, 48 people. Can we match that up? That's my ask. That's my ask. Putting this time is that you like, you support, right? Share the work that I'm doing with a friend, with a family. And if you feel compelled to give, you can contribute via the super chat, or you can go to my website and I have a contribute page and you can give, you can support the Finance Geek Ministry, which supports other people that don't necessarily or not in a position to afford financial coaching and get tier 1 customer service. So if you're feeling on your heart to do something like that, all you, I really do appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. Love it. Thank you. I just saw 3 likes come in. Appreciate that. So I'm going to ask it again. 48 people in the house. Can we get it up to 48 likes? That's my only request, is when you're here, you just click the like button, right? Throw a comment, share, right? Don't cost you nothing. Hit that thumbs up. Oh, boom. Someone else has already beat me to the punch. Appreciate that. I love having options with my policies and having more kingdom impact. Love it. Lost my brother, age 32, and 4 kids. Left a financial mess for my mom. So important to put things in order. Yes, so it's like, how do we have these conversations before it happens? We all know we're gonna die. Come on. We know we're gonna die. So how do we not have that conversation be so taboo if it's something that's going to happen, right? And by having a plan in place, I can then just focus on mourning a brother or a sister. I can just focus on that and not have to worry about finances, what they left, the mess. I can open up my journal, open up my Word doc or notes, and I can see, oh, brother wanted to take his kids to Disney World. Brother wanted to go to Bali. Brother wanted to build a church, a ministry that helps homeless. Brother wanted to do da. And then you can create a strategy for the 4 kids to do that. But if you guys don't have the conversations with your loved ones as to what they want, and then they die, what are you left with? You're only left with the memories that you have of them, right? And then if you don't talk about them, if you don't talk about how they were and you keep it bottled up inside, guess what begins to happen? Especially if you're in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, where you start to experience loss around you because people get older and die. If you keep that bottled up inside, guess what? You're going to forget about them. Your mind deteriorates, right? Our memories, our effectiveness starts to deteriorate. So you begin to forget about the little things that your brother or sister, mom, dad, cousin, nephew, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa did or was about. You don't want to forget those memories. So you got to write it down. Oh, man, grandma used to cook this and da-da-da. Here was her recipe. Boom, pass it down. We don't want to have those things get lost, right? So those are strategies, I think, to really, whether it's reduce the hit or just allow me to be in that grief without other circumstances messing me up, right? What if you don't have the debt? What if you don't have debt but low income? My friend, you're in a phenomenal position if you're debt-free and you're just low income, $2,000-$3,000 a month, right? I consider that low income, 2,000-3,000 a month. Anything below 3 is low income. 4 or 5 is, you're making a decent wage. But low income to me is below 3K. If you're in that position, oh my goodness, that's a healthy position to be in. Big thinker, right? Join my community. Join the Finance Geek Ministry. Look at this channel, Wealth, Wisdom, Financial. Check out these people. Check out Elevated Spaces. Paul has a YouTube channel. Guys, do market research. See who's in the space. See who you vibe with. Who can you grow with, right? I'm looking at your profile pic. You look young. I'm 26. I don't know how old you are. You look young. Imagine rocking with me for the next 10 years. And we're around the same age, let's say, because you look young, right? Dude, you want to go on a run with a 26-year-old like me? You want to go on a run, my guy? Like, I'm here, okay? Come from New York. I got the hustle in me. I live in South Florida. Perfect weather. I mean, we're talking perfect recipe for kingdom, dominion, and impact. Buddy, if you want to go on a run, business, politics, faith, whatever it is, dude, I'm here. This is my focus, right? I got 2 women in my life, most important, mom and girlfriend, okay? I'm not one of these dudes with the whole polygamy crap, okay? I can't focus. One woman, one focus, one mission, one purpose. So I'm not distracted. So you're dealing with a guy who's focused and committed to one woman, right? Mission of helping moms, building a YouTube channel. I mean, dude, we're talking focus. Focus. I am focused. You want to go on a run? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We're going to have some fun, buddy. Have some fun. I use my policy to buy a condo, and if I pass away, my wife would still be set. Think with the end in mind. Yes. I love thinking with the end in mind. I like being in the position where if Jesus came tomorrow, right? Rapture, right? End times, stuff pops off, right? All revelation comes to pass tomorrow. I know I'm good. I'm saved. I'm going eternal. And then I'm coming back, right? In my glorified body. So eternally wise, set. But I also plan for the next 100 years. I plan like Jesus is not coming for another 100 years, right? So that I have the things mapped out, okay? But I'm also ready if he came tomorrow. I'm ready for that judgment. I'm ready for it all. Yep. I deserve condemnation, Lord. I deserve hell. I know it. I deserve it. But because of your grace and what your book says and your laws and rules and protocols and regulations and your jurisdiction, you must grant me eternal life in heaven because of how I serve you, because of my love for you, because you love me first so that I can love others, right? And because of all those things lining up, my goodness, we have some fun in heaven and back here on earth. Oh, hey, Marion. Mrs. Yeah, the building manager, that threw me off. That definitely threw me off. We were and are taught to be consumers in today's world. Yes. You talked in the past about getting more into real estate. Are you looking into residential? Yes. It's just the timing's not right for me right now. I'm looking at commercial real estate because I want to build a church, guys. I want to build a financial church, right? What do I want to put on the title? Is Finance Geek Ministry, right? Where, I don't know, I'm going to think of something. But how awesome would that be, right? You come to church and it's a workshop, right? Like we have the Bible and then we pull out of the Bible the mandates and we put it into a strategy. And we go one by one of the members of the church, one by one, right? Where the church is feeding you, not the other way around. Okay, we're living in a time where pastors are begging for tithings and offerings. They're begging every Sunday, right? Tithe, 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 with no solutions. And then there's churches today that have flipped the switch. They flipped it. Churches are figuring out ways, pastors are figuring out ways to actually provide tangible solutions for their members so the church feeds the people. And it's a two-way thing. Not people feed the church and there's nothing in return. Right? It's not the people feed the church spends the seed. Right? Rather, the people feed into the church multiplies the seed, they plant the seed, they multiply it, they build the harvest, and then the cash flow feeds the participating members of that church. And we're talking sustainability. Powerful stuff. I like and save all your videos. Love the information you provide. I'm newer to your community. Found you about 3 months ago. Love the wisdom and truth you provide. Nice, man. Let's go on a run, buddy. A run. Every day. Dang, she got bigger arms than me. Shoot, I gotta get in the gym. Terrible. Thanks so much. Great information. Raul, we have a mortgage that I refinanced recently 11 months ago, then applied for a HELOC. Cool. Just turned 23. I want to join your community today. Yeah, click that first link, community, and when you go to my website, denzelrodriguez.com, you'll see a tab. It says Finance Geek Ministry, and we do Zoom meetings like this where I can see everyone. People can talk, chime in. Dude, 23 years old. That's when I started. I'm telling you, we could go on a run, buddy. A run. Thanks for the shout out to your channel, my friend. I'm excited to be part of the journey, make an impact with you. Absolutely. Renard, Denzel, I'd like to get with Alex about the online business. His link is also in the description. Check him out. Have a conversation with him. Let me go ahead and throw it in the comment section so you guys have that. Go to my website, denzelrodriguez.com. Resources, you'll see Alex Albaran. For those of you who are looking to build an online Shopify store. And then I'll just go ahead and share with you guys my store so you can see the work that he's done for me so far. All right, because he's doing good stuff. He's doing powerful stuff. All right, so link is there. Boom. That's to work with Alex. Let me share my screen. This is what the Finance Geek store looks like. You guys can check that out. So it's called the financegeek.live. Financegeek.live. So you can check that out. And then when you join my community and stuff, you'll get emails letting you know of my progress, just showing you the different things that I'm working on, right? Building the different streams of incomes while maintaining my focus. That's key. I think you got to be focused. You want to master something, get really good at something. Then you start to add things that you are really, really passionate about, that you can go multiple layers deep on that one topic. And you begin to build a strong community of people. And you're able to weather different storms, When the life is over, when the live is over, I'm going to subscribe to you and reach out. Would email or DM be better? I'm an email guy, okay? And I'll drop my email for you guys to have. I don't see any other questions. Any other questions? Put them in now, okay? Let's put my email. If you guys wanted to reach out directly to me, that's where you would go. Denzel at buildertocontributor.com. That's where you reach out to me directly, or you join my email newsletter. Either way you do it, it's going to throw you right into the email newsletter, so you start getting information from me. Invite you to the Finance Geek Ministry. And guys, it's full transparency. What do you want, right? How can I help you? And then we determine the numbers. Does it make sense to pay me for my services? Are you looking for paid coaching services that you can afford? Or are you in a position where you're like, dude, back's against the wall. I'm on my last leg. I'm on my last $100. It's rough out here. Okay, that's what the Finance Geek Ministry is for. If you're willing to do the work, no money is required, right? Full transparency. Full. Planning on chunking from a 6.5% HELOC to a 2.25 home mortgage loan acquired 11 months ago. Is this a good idea? If I can bring the borrowing cost from 6.5 below 2.25, I would say yes. But I also need to look at all the numbers, Raul. Is this the only debt that I have? So you have to ask yourself, is this the only debt that I have? 2.25% home mortgage, 6.5% HELOC. Is that all I have? Or are there other debts in the equation that we may need to go after first before we attack the mortgage, right? So even though 2.25 seems low, if we do the math properly, right? He said no other debts, right? So now it's just a matter of looking at income and cash flow, expenses, and really figuring out, what does Raul want? Does Raul want to, despite whatever's going on in the economy, right? Despite whatever's going on in crypto and investments and stocks, if you're someone that's just like, hey, I don't care about any of that. I have no desire to start a business right now. I literally just want to pay off my mortgage as quickly as possible. I don't care what people say about paying off mortgage is stupid, or you shouldn't pay off your mortgage right now, or you should or you shouldn't. Like, you got to know who you are, Raul. If you're like, hey, I want to pay off my mortgage as quickly as humanly possible, right? Let's say that is the intent. Then now it's just a matter of the math, right? We have to first run debt snowball. Looking at your cash flow, by making extra payments each and every month according to your cash flow at that 2.25% mortgage, how quickly will I pay off my debt? Let's say 9 years, right, is the timeline, making extra payments, as opposed to 30 years. So you bring 30 all the way to 9. That's amazing, right? Not bad at all. Okay. Now, velocity banking says that on average, we should be able to pay off our mortgage within 5 to 7 years or less, right? So if we can show the math, that debt snowball, cash flow, right, all the way through, 9 years is the timeline, and then we do velocity banking, where using the 6.5% rate all the way through would get us out of debt in 7 years. That's a 2-year difference. That's very attractive, right? Very attractive. If you do it anything quicker than that, 6, 5, 4, very attractive, right? So let's get that first settled with your amortization schedule, maybe Excel, put it all out, put extra payments, right? And then we do velocity banking. This way we're not guessing. Is this a good idea, Denzel? 6.65, 2.25? Run the numbers. That's my answer, right? Let's run the numbers. Let's take the guessing out of it. Let's put it to the spreadsheet. Let's put it to the whiteboard. Let's put it on the board. Map this thing out. How much is 2.25 over 30-year, 9-year period, right? And even though 6.65 is a higher rate, what is my net cost actually going to be, right? So the interesting strategy right now, as it relates to these high interest home equity line of credits that have been increasing, I believe the most effective thing you could do is actually have more control over that higher rate by maybe not making such big chunks. So And this is especially advantageous for those with lower incomes, under 4K, under 5K, under 3K. Instead of making a big chunk from the 2.25 and throwing it into the 6.5, you could do smaller micro chunks all throughout the year and control the 6.65 rate more. So let's say you're making $4,000 a month and you cash flow $1,000. Instead of making a $30,000 chunk or $20,000 chunk on from out of the HELOC, if you have 50 grand, 100 grand, whatever it is, what if we did 10K chunks and just did that every 4 to 6 months? How much interest would I pull out of the HELOC for every 10K or every 5K or every 7K, right? We can run this. And if we did these micro chunks, right, 7K at 6.5% ends up being 1%, 2%, especially if you attach a credit card to it, cashback rewards. So you're minimizing the cost by making smaller chunk payments, right? That is huge right there for those with lower incomes. Those with higher incomes, 10, 15, 20K, we obviously need to go bigger in our chunks to see the difference compared to that snowball making extra payments, right? So that's something to consider, Raul, if you're in that situation. Okay, how do I make sense of this, right? And then just know that there are alternatives where if I don't want to pay off my mortgage because inflation is at 29% overall, they won't tell you that. It's 29%. It's 20+% inflation. That's where we're at right now. But they're not going to tell you that because people go crazy. Potentially looking at a recession, potential job losses coming down the pipeline. Doesn't make sense to pay off 2.25 or lock in that cost there and figure out a way to earn a higher rate of return over here, increase income and cash flow. You have to work through that. And with coaching, we can come together and figure out that strategy, right? Thank you for all the great content. I'm so excited about the future. There's so much opportunities. I'm grateful to have come across your channel. You explain things so well. Thank you, Sterling. Yes, great. The future is bright, like Patrick Bet-David says on Valuetainment. The future is bright for sure. There's just going to be little pains along the way, some big pains. We've got to get through it. So I don't see any other questions. We're at 42 likes, 48 people in the house. If we can get it up to 48, that would be amazing. I would really appreciate that. With that being said, I see no other questions. I'm going to close it out here. All right. Give you guys a couple more seconds. Any last questions? Now is the time. Now's the time. And if not, we'll close it out here. 5 more seconds, 10 more seconds. Okay, don't see anything. We'll take it to the whiteboard one last time. You see the notes. Always send me your 4 major numbers, all of the debts, the strategy, bringing the concepts together, velocity banking and infinite banking together. Most of the time, velocity banking will come first to position you, and then we move and transition over into IBC because that product is going to give you lower costs of borrowing most of the time. And that's the wealth creation factor of things, all that good stuff. Okay, we got it up to 46 likes. Thank you so much. Thank you. One more person did not like this video. Just one more. All right? Let's get that like. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless. And we'll be talking soon. Let me see. Oh, shoot. Now I got to say goodbye again because my video is not playing. I had a little outro. I was going to go to a little cute little outro and I messed that up. Here we go. We're going to try one more time. God bless. Have a wonderful day. And we'll be talking soon. Bring our forces together to really help on a massive scale
I look forward to helping more of Denzel's clients and educating them and getting them ready for velocity banking, because we have work to do in the community. We have work to do for the next generation.
We can create change in all different aspects in our personal and professional journeys.
How can we turn those leads into actual conversations and then turn those into sales?
And really dialogue and see what solutions, what problems can we provide solutions to that help us move forward and improve the entire ecosystem.